O editor de internacional da CNN Brasil, Marcelo Favalli, entrevistou o bombeiro Dan Daly, capitão aposentado do Corpo de Bombeiros americano, que participou do resgate às vítimas do atentado. Daly falou sobre suas memórias, seus medos e como essa tragédia mudou a vida dele. Vamos ver.
Agora a gente conversa com quem esteve no Marco Zero no dia da tragédia. O bombeiro Dan Daly era oficial do Corpo de Bombeiros de Nova York e esteve ali entre as equipes que participaram dos resgates e depois do recolhimento de corpos de quem não sobreviveu da tragédia que marcou o começo do século XXI. Bombeiro Dan Daly, todo mundo conhece a história, até os mais jovens já viram a cena na televisão ou em filmes. Mas a gente queria saber a sua perspectiva, conhecer o relato a partir dos seus olhos. Como é que o senhor chegou no Marco Zero e qual foi a primeira coisa que o senhor viu?
Well, that day on 9/11, it was a beautiful, crystal clear day, the kind of day that pilots call severe clear. I was going to go for a plane ride that day. And then a friend of mine called and said, turn on the TV. And I said, what channel? And he said, it doesn't matter what channel, just turn on the TV. And when I turned it on, I saw the plane hitting that building. And I knew it was going to be a very bad day for New York and a bad day for humanity as well. So I actually went to my firehouse in the Bronx and got a team together. And I had to commandeer a mail truck that day to get down there. I couldn't take my fire truck out of our area because we guard a lot of embassies. So as we got down to ground zero, all I could see was swirling billows of dark smoke, and the sun was totally obscured from the sky. You know, firefighters, we're very talkative when we're going into a fire. We're ready to go in and attack it. But there was silence among us because we knew that there could be 50,000 people that died that day. Once we got off the truck that brought us down there, someone recognized me, walked up to me and said, Father, walked out of that smoke and dust, that toxic mix, and said to me, Father Mike is dead. And Father Mike was our fire department chaplain, and he was very loved. He was a good friend of mine because I worked in a firehouse where he kept his car. And just hearing that news as soon as I got there, it was absolutely terrible. And then someone else walked up and said, your good friend, Steve Belson, died. And Steve talked me into the fire department. We were school teachers together. And the litany of terrible news wouldn't stop, one after another. Firefighters with grim faces, some covered with blood, were just saying, we lost so many people. And it felt so hopeless as a firefighter, because normally when we get to a fire, we know exactly what to do. You know, we get inside the building, we start our hose lines. But here we were looking at a structure that was 80 to 100 feet tall of just twisted metal, a labyrinth, and hundreds of fires. And where do you start with just small hand tools when there could be so many thousands of people in there? It was really a shocking experience for us.
Quantas horas o senhor esteve envolvido no processo de resgate, recuperação dos corpos, recolhimento das vítimas?
We stayed into the wee hours of the morning that day, and then we came back every day on 12-hour shift. 12 hours on and 12 hours off.
Qual foi a sua primeiríssima impressão? Qual a frase, qual palavra lhe veio à cabeça quando o senhor viu aquela cena de destruição?
I felt like I just had landed on the moon. Nothing was recognizable. The sun was blocked out in the middle of the afternoon. And the Twin Towers, beautiful buildings that we loved, were gone. And it was just, oh my God, oh my God. It was utter disbelief. And I think it lasted that way for many of us for months.
Sr. Dan, qual é a memória mais amarga, mais dura de recordar até hoje daquele 11 de setembro de 2001?
Well, we got buckets and we started combing the area with buckets and shovels. And when we had a rescue dog there, he would bark, and we knew what he was barking at. and there was a remnant of a human being, and we would touch it with the shovel, and if it was a bit pliable, we knew what it was, and then it was a part of a remain, and we picked it up and put it in the shovel, and marched it back to an area where they were collecting them. And I remember thinking to myself, what have we done to ourselves? No person should ever have to do this. And unfortunately, I came across a woman's hand sticking out. It looked like a woman's hand sticking out from underneath the girder. And I didn't know what to do. Should we leave it there? We couldn't pull on it. And what I had to do was to actually use the shovel to chop whatever I could get of the arm off so it wouldn't be lost when they were moving the heavy steel. And those were the two things that to this day haunt me.
E para encerrarmos a nossa conversa, bombeiro Dan Dale, como essa tragédia mudou o senhor como pessoa, não somente como profissional?
Well, one of the great memories, and if you can use that word, of 9/11, was all the volunteers that came in from all over the country and from the world. And I do believe there was some firefighters that came up from Brazil too to help. So it wasn't really what heinous people could destroy. It was, look at all the people that came together and worked as a team. And it really lifted our hearts. There was one area where they set up tents and they gave us hats and gloves. And there were college kids there when we came off the pile saying, "Can I give you a hug?" And there were priests and rabbis saying, "Can you pray?" And after you worked up on that hellhole, you really did need to pray. And even in a strange way, there was a little bit of humor there. When the massage therapists came in and offered their services, naturally, we were like, no way, just give me black coffee and I'm back up on the pile. But 3 weeks later, after everyone's digging and aching, now you had to wait online to get a massage. So it really became a beautiful community, which I call the City of Angels. And that to me is the legacy of 9/11. How stronger we are when we work together, when we forget our politics, and we work for each other's well-being. And we had that for a while in New York and across the world. I had the opportunity to travel with the State Department to 200 communities around the world, including Sao Paulo a couple of times. And the people around the world and in your country were so beautiful and with open arms and welcoming. And if only we could capture that feeling, that love that surpasses our differences, and move forward with that, how much better off we would be as a society.
Publicamente, mais uma vez, eu queria agradecer o tempo do bombeiro Dan Dale, que fez parte da equipe de resgate, de uma das equipes de resgate naquele dia 11 de setembro de 2001, em Nova York. Contamos com a participação dele num futuro próximo para notícias mais esperançosas e a gente continua com a nossa programação especial.